Hi everyone, welcome to the Recruitment Reality podcast. This is another special episode with a new candidate who is in the common situation of leaving military service and basically transitioning into civilian life. It's actually a subject quite close to my heart, with a few of my friends doing something very similar. There's lots of well-trodden paths into investment banking, finance, etc., operations, and I think one of the key things that interests me is like, how do you make that decision once leaving the military? Where do you go? What are you worth? All of that kind of stuff, and I'm really interested. I'm very, very thankful to Jonny for joining this podcast and being willing to put himself out there and have the discussion. As we talked just before starting recording, it's probably not the kind of thing that the military get to do very often, which is go onto podcasts. So I really appreciate, again, you just putting yourself out there and being willing to kind of be part of this feedback loop into recruiters. So yeah, I guess over to you, Jonny. Thank you so much. Just would be great to get a bit of an introduction.
Yep. Hi everyone. Yep. My name's Jonny. I already said I'm a military service leaver. Spent the last 14 years in the military. Spent the last 8 years in a more specialist part of the military. I've done multiple high-risk operations and finished my career actually leading a high-risk operation. So obviously leaving the military now, looking for a new lease of life in the tech sector, fully industry not agnostic. I'm going after the sort of tech startup size. The skills that I've gained over the years, it's taken me a little while to sort of translate that. But you know what I'm good at is I'm a proven cross-functional leader and manager. So what that sort of involves is leveraging expertise, holding people accountable, making decisions like we have done in the military, like under pressure, making the right decision and owning that decision as well. I'm a strong communicator and influencer. People want to work with me. I want to work with people, and I want to support people through, the daily tasks that they have. And it's really important that I'm bringing this culture with me as well. That everyone has a voice, no matter how junior the team member is. And it's really important that everyone has a voice, and we can innovate together, collaborate together. And most importantly, like a lot of military service leavers, we're fast learners. Like my previous job, we're learning things on the bonnet of a car before we go and do a mission. You've got to be such a fast learner because you always have our lives sort of depend on it, and those are skills that I'll be taking into the business, my business career really. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I felt sort of restricted, probably like a lot of military guys feel restricted before. And you look at the commercial world, the real world, and the sky's the limit, and it's absolutely amazing. I'm really looking forward to it.
Awesome. I mean, there's so much in that already. I just find it fascinating. It must be such a difficult thing to kind of unwind in your mind, going from, like you say, learning something on the bonnet of a car that's going to save a life to moving into a career where nobody's going to die, but everybody that's in the business acts as if they're super stressed, whereas you've been in a truly high pressure environment, etc. Do you think that's a strength, like the fact that you've got that reference point of, guys, we'll get it fixed, don't panic? I've been in a lot worse situations than this, and we just need to work through to find the solution? Or do you think actually the reason why you performed so well in those environments is because you had such high pressure? Like, how do you think you're going to adapt to that world? That's just an interest point rather than anything else. But
yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, like the threshold of stress, like me and a lot of other guys who've been in the military, we've definitely been under a lot of stress, but also making the right decisions and that thriving in ambiguity. I've heard people say multiple times, and yes, it won't be the same stress, but isn't that a good thing that it's not going to be the same stress, and if anything, consistently making the right decisions under less stress, really.
Yeah. No, I think I absolutely think it's a good thing to have. I'm just like, it's just such an interesting sort of switch for you. So talk to me about, you obviously have your transition period and the military's sort of supports you through that, etc. So I know a lot happens from actually, wanting to leave to leaving, basically. What's the experience that you've had of like the job market now that you're into the commercial world? And how have you found it? Like, has it been a good experience? Has it been really hard? Have you not enjoyed it?
Yeah, I mean, I've had to learn a lot of the basics very quickly as well. So going back to that fast learning bit before, and in the military, especially my unit, like we're not allowed to go onto like social media platforms like LinkedIn, and we're quite modest as well. So it's really unnatural to sort of like create a LinkedIn and sort of talk about like things you're interested in and what you want. So that was quite a challenge, and it's sort of the hardest thing for me was actually finding out what exactly you want. And I sort of spoken to as many people as possible. Like I've reached out to 200 people, probably spoke to like 100 people, like different business leaders, like decision makers, and people who've been in the game for a long time. And really, that's allowed me to see what I want to do, and also, most importantly, find out what I really don't want to do. So that's why I've narrowed it down to tech startups, because they're agile, they're fast paced, like they're forever evolving. Decisions you make in the morning will be actioned in the afternoon. That's the sort of environment I've come from. That's what I really, really want to work in. And, it's been a challenge. I've had to learn the basics of how to find a job. And maybe years ago, it's been send your CV in and wait to see what happens. But now it's like, I've got to build my brand on LinkedIn. Like on LinkedIn, I am that tech startup guy, and my LinkedIn reflects that. So it's taking that time to understand what exactly you want to do. Like I understand exactly what I want to do now. Again, I'm open to various sort of options, but this is what I want to do. My LinkedIn reflects that. I'm speaking to the right people in that field, and bringing it all together will makes things a lot easier. And it has been challenging. Like all you got to do is ask my wife. Some days I'm up, sometimes I'm down, but don't let the rejection get to you, and you'll eventually have a lot of success in talking to the right people, and I definitely have, and things are moving really in the direction I want it to be.
Awesome. So you talked about reaching out to like 200 people, speaking to 100 people. What kind of people were you actually reaching out to, and how receptive were they to that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, it was I think the veterans. I was so lucky. We've got such a really strong veteran network out there, and veterans are literally everywhere. I mean, they're all levels in the business, and if wherever you're looking, there'll 100% be a veteran in there as well. So it's really about finding those veterans on LinkedIn, saying, yeah, veteran, you needed advice, but even on non-veterans as well, like just telling them my name's Jonny, I've been in the military 14 years. I'm really interested in what your business does, and this is what I'm looking at, and it'd be really great to get your advice. And I've spoken to quite a lot of CEOs and CEOs and HR directors as well, and really saying don't say to them, "Can I have a job?" because they hate that apparently. So go in softly and be like, I like what you do. Can you please give me some advice? And I've had a lot of success through that.
Awesome. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? And how do you in terms of approaching those conversations and saying that somebody's interested, etc. The last conversation I had with a candidate, they were saying that actually quite a lot of companies in that sort of startup to mid-level tech space, they were actually quite hard to find, and find ones that have job. What's your experience of that been?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, the senior sort of operations roles, and if you look at the jobs on LinkedIn, they're usually past that. They've got people in those roles already. So for me, going to startup events and speaking to just random people end up being founders, and also finding out who these people are coming out of different accelerator programs and that, and just sort of targeting them straight away. But yeah, that's a really good point, because I've not really seen the jobs that I want in startups on LinkedIn. I think by the time it's on LinkedIn, maybe they're a bit further on than where I want to be.
Yeah.
If you see anything you just reaching out to the founder or COO and just be like, "Can I have some advice? Do you want to go for a coffee?"
Yeah, that's really interesting, because everybody bangs on about there being a candidate shortage, and then the two candidates, both of which have got exceptional experience but very different, both of them have said it's been difficult to find the jobs that they're looking for.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you're having to do like the majority of the work? Companies aren't coming to you, you're going to companies?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, it's just, about maybe the fear of the unknown, like leaving the military, like didn't work in a startup before, not got a tech background. I've heard all this stuff before, but I've spoken to a lot of people who said it doesn't matter, and like you should never like undervalue like what sort of skills you can bring to the startup space or any business.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think especially, if you're working on in the environment that you were working, where basically, every situation you're in is, let's call it a startup, right? But you've got a set of principles that I'm sure you will work to, you understand, etc. You go into a high risk operation, you're doing something that could be completely different to the last one that you did. And if that's not applicable to startup land, I have absolutely no idea what is.
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of dealing with that really dynamic situation and having to make very quick decisions that obviously they're not life or death, but they could be life or death of the business, in reality. So they are high pressure decisions. So you've started these conversations. Have you got very far into like the interview journey yet? Like, have you been through an interview process with any companies? And if you have, like, what have you liked and disliked about your experience with that?
Yeah, so I think with the sort of startup space, a lot of them seem quite informal initially. I mean, they're probably just like scoping you out, really. But for me, I'm going to one of the things I was looking at was the Barclays internship program, military talent scheme. I went through a few interviews with that, which were really good. And also, my initial interview was actually talking about all the people that I networked with in their network. So it wasn't really an interview. It was like, oh yeah, and just really like a good military does, like attacking that network and just finding all the key players and getting them on board, and then what you want will eventually come to fruition, and everything seems to be moving in that direction.
Nice. And what about interviews that you've had elsewhere? Like, did you enjoy them, or have you found them
Yeah,
awkward?
I mean, it's really like someone said to me, like, you need to go in there and think about like they have the problem and you're the solution, rather than being like, I need this so badly, and that sort of pushing the right mentality, I think. And that was really good advice. Whoever, can't remember who gave it to me, but that was really good advice.
Yeah, I love that. They have the problem and you're the solution, and all you've got to figure out is how the two basically marry up together, which is challenging in itself, but it's certainly, hopefully that will kind of break the humble, sort of modest side of things that you've got. Like, it is obviously a difficult thing to suddenly come on a podcast and like big yourself up when you've spent your entire working career doing the opposite.
Yeah.
Basically, and being, part of the team. What in terms of like things that you've had from recruiter, it sounds to me like very much your approach to finding a role has been the proactive one, like going out and trying to find the right companies. Have you put your CV up on any job sites or anything like that, and had any like recruiters come directly to you and like do telephone interviews, that kind of stuff, or has it all been proactive from yourself so far?
So mostly proactive, but I have had a couple of recruiters come to me and offer me like half a salary that I was expecting in a lot more junior role as well. So, for me, I've got to be a lot more ambitious and sort of like push for those harder to get roles, the roles that I want, really. But yeah, I've not really had any big roles incoming. Not been that fortunate, actually. But I've definitely put my CV out there. And, again, like the most success I've had is putting your CV on LinkedIn and chasing up the recruiter and sort of put a name to the face and being like, "Oh, can I talk to you about this role?" And that seems to be works really well.
Yeah. But again, it's like you going to them, whereas everybody's complaining there aren't any candidates. Yeah. And I'm like, here's a great candidate with great potential. Why are you not going to them and finding them. I think there's again, it's just a common theme of like candidates not being able to find the companies they want to work for, and companies then complaining that they can't find the candidates.
Yeah, definitely.
What's been the biggest challenge that you've had in terms of figuring out that you wanted to work for tech startups in sort of operations and then like salary, etc.? What's the biggest challenge that you've had in figuring that out, and what advice would you give to other, service individuals that are maybe moving in a similar direction to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's just about understanding what you're worth, and I found that if I want to work in like a smaller company because I like to think they sort of see that like potential as well. Whereas like if you go if you're aiming for the bigger sort of corporates, like you're going to go to this level because Smudger before you went at that level. Whereas like, I feel like in the tech startup area, like there's not many people, especially from my background, going into that, and you're a bit more sort of unique in that sort of sense. In terms of advice, like I said before, really just sort of building that brand on LinkedIn, and I've definitely had a lot more people getting in touch with me because of who I say I am on LinkedIn, and again, just getting out to these networking events, and there's nothing better than in-person networking, and for me personally, I can really like form a better, like, stronger relationship with someone if I actually met them like over a coffee or over a beer or at a networking event. Don't be scared either, because I was at a random networking event a couple of weeks ago, and we had like drinks afterwards, and I put my coat on. I was like, I'm going. This is too awkward. And then I was like, right, took my coat off and just went over there and just started speaking to people. And it's something that's like totally alien to people in the military, because I went over there, a big 6'4" guy just stood next to him, and they had to talk to me, and some really good things like come from it as well. So just don't be scared. You got to put yourself out there, because people, no one's they might do it does happen. Like no one's going to offer you like the job you want straight away. I mean, it does happen. Like hopefully it happens to me, but you got to get out there and really work for it.
Absolutely, and I think the funny thing is that I don't. There's a minority of people that go, oh, I love networking.
Yeah,
there really is. So most people in that room at some point feel awkward, right?
Yeah,
it's just that you've never felt that kind of awkwardness before because you've never been in that scenario, if that makes sense.
100%, yeah.
So it's kind of just breaking through that initial barrier and then realizing you're going to feel awkward at every single networking event. I really hate networking. I love talking and I love building relationships. I like it. If there's a subject and we're sat around a table and you have to talk about the subject, like it's hard to shut me up.
Yeah.
If it's like in a bar afterwards, sponsored drinks, honestly, I'm just shitting it, to be frank, because I'm like, I'm going to walk up to this person, I want to speak to them, and I don't know what I'm going to say and whether they're going to like me. And if they don't like me or want to speak to me, like, what am I going to do next? Just fucking leave. And I'm like, actually, people aren't like that. They're polite.
Yeah.
They'll have a chit chat, and then something might come of it, something might not. And more often than not, there is something to kind of bond on. I really like the fact that you've clearly educated yourself around like accelerator programs and stuff like that, networking and actually, speaking to all those people. Like that's a huge thing that if there's candidates listening, they should be taking that away, is like figure out where you want to end up and then find out everything about that space, basically.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Because it's so, so important. So just to sort of round up, I guess, from a candidate experience perspective, is there any feedback that you'd love to give to recruiters or hiring managers that you think would help them find people like yourself that have great potential, but obviously making that transition from military service into civilian life?
Yeah, just don't be scared about hiring veterans, because some of the people that I've worked with in my whole career, like probably the best people I'll ever work with, and if anything, you're getting them when they're fresh out of the military and they're so keen and so passionate about whatever job like you potentially offer them. Like they're probably the best candidate you ever get. Like they'll go above and beyond. So don't be scared about hiring veterans, because they'll pick it up like really quickly, and they'll be an absolute asset to your team as well.
Awesome. And do you have any idea like how how somebody would best find people like yourself. Like if they were like, okay, yeah, I really like what Jonny said about military people, and I totally agree. Like in terms of discipline, and also one thing people don't realise about the military is the amount of learning opportunities that you get in the military.
Yeah.
And you're constantly learning new stuff, and it's actually crazy, because I think about the level of like professional qualifications that I've done in my commercial career, and it's nothing compared to some of the stuff that, you know, those that I know in the military have done. And I think people have that preconceived idea that, you know, military is the only way that they've kind of, they must be indoctrinated in this military life. And it's like, yeah, you have. And actually part of that indoctrination is always be learning about a new situation, always be learning about a new skill.
Yeah.
Like it's just constantly layering stuff on top of each other.
Yeah.
So have you got any advice on like how companies could actually find people like yourself?
Yeah, I mean, there's different like networks on LinkedIn. I mean, I've been finding business owners just by like typing the veteran in after them and sort of like slipping that down as well. So veteran like keywords. Obviously, they're open to work like sort of overlay, and like the things like the GenDit network has got loads of like military guys on there who are, you know, looking for new roles as well. So, you know, there's plenty out there. If you have a quick search on LinkedIn, you'll find what you're looking for.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Jonny. So, any final, I guess, things you'd like to say about like why somebody should be contacting you? What you know, not necessarily makes you unique, but certainly makes you a great person for their business. Any final words?
It's
putting you on the spot, isn't it?
Like I said before, like proven cross-functional leader and manager, and, you know, get me in your staff because I'll get shit done.
Yeah, love it. Nice. And if somebody wants to connect with you or email you, call you, whatever, what's the best way to get in contact?
Yeah, it's just add me on LinkedIn, or add me on LinkedIn, Jonny Loudon.
Perfect. And yeah, look, thank you so much for coming on and sharing a very small part of your story. And look, I wish you the best of luck. The great news for you is most of the people I know and that will hopefully watch this are startup tech people. So fingers crossed. We will get something out there. And yeah, like I just like huge admiration for the way that you're really attacking the transition and going after like networking, figuring out what you want, and really trying to find the right job for you at a value that you have, basically. So thanks so much for coming on and sharing that with us, and I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thanks everyone for watching. It's been amazing.
Thanks, Jonny.